The recent Themed Entertainment Association numbers have been published for the year of 2024, detailing all of the attendance for theme parks around the world. And Magic Kingdom at Disneyland were definitely at the top, with Magic Kingdom coming in first on the raw number. But Disneyland, I believe, is on pace to take over and be the number one spot for theme parks around the world. Well, that may have already happened. They're just not telling us. Here you go from That Park Place. Exclusive, Disneyland beat Disney World's Magic Kingdom in 2024 average attendance, despite the headlines. This by WDW Pro, October 28th, 2025. Magic Kingdom was recently declared the winner by the Themed Entertainment Association for attendance in 2024. But what if we told you the Walt Disney World Gateway theme park only won that race because Disney likely wanted to make sure it did so? And what if we told you that Disneyland theme park was more crowded with more ticket sales on a daily basis than Magic Kingdom? Turns out, Disneyland was only beaten by Magic Kingdom according to the TEA numbers because Disney chose to make it more available more often. First, we're going to take a look at the availability of Magic Kingdom at Disney World compared to Disneyland. Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World was open a staggering 400 plus times during 2024. And you might ask, how is that possible if there aren't 400 plus days in a year? And the answer is that Disney World opened Magic Kingdom more than one ticketed session on a large number of days. And we all know about these after-hour parties and so forth, this ability for a park to actually sell itself multiple times in the same day because, well, you have Not So Scary Halloween Party, you have Merry Christmas Party, you have after-hours Magic Kingdom and so forth, and you can see the nights listed there. WDW Pro's argument is very interesting because he contends, and this is according to the data and what he's been able to find, how TEA actually counts these numbers. Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom had more nights of these kind of after-hour events and so forth included with Magic Kingdom than Disneyland. And so when you look at the averages, it averaged out in a manner that had Disneyland overtake Magic Kingdom. And we kind of know that that was possible because if you look at these 2024 attendance figures, you can see right here that we're only 500,000 people between the two theme parks. And so with it being that close, and it really has been narrowing every single subsequent year, if we look back at previous TEA data, very, very interesting stuff. I contend it is on pace, Disneyland that is, to overtake Magic Kingdom, the most attended theme park in the world, and has been going strong for the last 5 years in the theme park race. I kind of want to know from you guys, what do you think about Disneyland being number one in the race for attendance in 2024?
I think people are looking for nostalgia. That's why they're going to Disneyland. That's my guess, because that's the original. That one opened up first. It has, come on, it's got Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. People want old school. They don't want any new stuff, and that's my opinion.
That's true. I suppose you're right. I mean,
and yet,
go ahead, please.
If you consider Disneyland, I know they're doing it separately from DCA, but if you consider the combination, DCA has what I consider to be the last great attraction Imagineering built in America, which is, the race cars.
Racers.
It's so brilliant, and they've done nothing even close to that since. And but the big issue here is attendance does not equal revenue, because first of all, if you're a lot of people at Disneyland are annual pass holders. So first of all, if you attend 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times in a year, 2 or 3 times certainly pays for the annual pass, doesn't it? And at that point, maybe 4, maybe 4.
It's 5? It's a little bit more than that, especially with the higher tiers.
Well, but
effectively,
if you're coming over and over, you're not spending as much per visit on merch, on food, even on anything. Because, I was here last week. I was here last month. They haven't changed anything that much. And so the per guest revenue goes down with more attendance by the same people. So, these numbers are all, they need them for the stockholders' sake, and they need them quoted in an industry journal rather than by themselves. Because if it was just them saying it, everybody would know they were lying, because heck, that's what they do. They lie. It's their nature. What's that old thing about the
it could be the bloggers going all the time. Maybe, I don't know.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. MJ is Lou is exactly 100% correct. At least before the pandemic, 75% of the annual attendance of Disneyland came from within 250 miles of that specific theme park resort. So basically, Southern California and parts of Nevada and Arizona. The difficult thing about about the attendance figures is that not all attendance is equal, and the per caps over there at Walt Disney World are much higher because you've got people coming maybe once in a lifetime, maybe once every 5 years, once every 10 years, and they are disproportionately going to spend more money when they're in the park that day because they're only there that day. Versus, like Lou pointed out beautifully right there, people are coming back over and over again. So are they going to spend, $100 on dinner every single time they walk into Disneyland? No. And that's kind of the difference between the two resorts right there. And that's why it's really bad when Disneyland usurps Magic Kingdom on this list, because we all know that those per caps are not the same. And that's I think a huge problem for Magic Kingdom. Go ahead.
And not
Or
only
Disney.
that, with the high cost of dining, for example, at either park is substantial.
Oh,
but,
yes.
But there are simply more venues where you have to pay too much at Disney World. There's simply
Absolutely.
more. And even the
yes.
package deals, for example, on our last trip, we did the wonderful package of dinner at the Blue Bayou and the reserved seating with the little seat mat, which I've shown for Fantasmic. It was great. I'd seen Fantasmic since literally the opening night many times. I'd eaten at the Blue Bayou many times. Putting the two together to get the reserved seating and the little seat mat and whatever was a great thing. But would I do that a second time? Nope. I've now done it. As opposed to I go to, Magic Kingdom and I want to go eat anything. And I'm looking at what, $40, $50 a head for anything other than a churro. So there's in other words, you have fewer low-cost alternatives, fewer low-cost possibilities. So everything is going to cost more. And then remember, the cost of living in Southern California is even higher when you consider income taxes and you consider gas taxes and you consider all the other ancillary things of life. So in the one sense, yes, the prices are high. In this other sense, yeah, but so's everything.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're spending thousands of dollars to make it down to Florida and to get a room, and this is the once in a lifetime vacation, you're just disproportionately going to spend more than the person coming multiple times. There's just no question about that, and that's why I think Disneyland, for example, one of the most attended theme parks in the world, only has 4 sit-down restaurants versus Walt Disney World and Magic Kingdom especially. They have a few more options on offer right there. Erika, go ahead and incorporate you into the conversation. Are you necessarily surprised by what you're seeing? And what does that mean really for the future of Magic Kingdom now that it's the Walt Disney World?
I'm kind of with MJ. It seems like Disneyland has more attractions than Magic Kingdom. And the construction at Magic Kingdom means less value for the money. They've also gotten a bad reputation now by taking out Rivers of America. Big Thunder Mountain has been closed. Tiana's Bayou I know they got Tiana's Bayou over at Disneyland too, but
because of the plethora of attractions, Tiana's Bayou Adventure is only one of many versus that's a signature attraction over there in Magic Kingdom. Yeah.
Seems like their Fantasyland at Disneyland looks, honestly, I prefer it to what we have at Magic Kingdom, and I've never even been there. I've just seen videos and live streams. It looks more whimsical, it's more immersive, and there's more attractions. There's more of those classic stories to ride through, like Alice in Wonderland and Pinocchio. Yep. Like, we don't have any of that. I'm like,
exactly. Yes.
There's a lot missing. And we have the land, but,
Well, let's put it this way. When you go to hell at Disneyland, it's with Mr. Toad and a bunch of smiling devils. When you go to hell at Walt Disney World, it's when you buy a fast pass.
That's pretty good right there. Or it's just the summer out there.
But seriously,
or when you don't, depending on your viewpoint.
Growing up at Disneyland, as I did, the first time I went to Orlando and to Magic Kingdom, the immediate first impression was half as much stuff on 3 times as much dirt. Those vast expanses in Tomorrowland and those vast expanses everywhere else. And I thought, well, okay, but and I mean, even the facades, for God's sakes, the difference between Small World at Disneyland versus Small World at Magic Kingdom, I mean, there's just no comparison there. None at all.
Wizards coming in here. I believe this statistic is true, although I haven't checked in a while. Disneyland Resort has more attractions than all of Walt Disney World. I believe that's true. I thought I heard that Disneyland itself has more attractions than like 3 of the parks out there at Walt Disney World itself. So that just the level of comparison is, I think, noteworthy. The only problem is that it's just not a tourist destination like Magic Kingdom. That's the big issue, and that's what holds Disneyland back in terms of being a big revenue driver for the company. You have bodies, yes, but they're not spending the same amount. That's for sure.
I also have a question.
But it also
it seems like the food at Disneyland is better.
Oh yeah,
It looks better. Does it taste better?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
I
so.
think-
I think there's no doubt. I really do. And I think part of that is because, with all due respect to the Orlando area, it's largely about chains and big box stuff. And I just don't think there's as much competition for excellent cuisine in Orlando as there is in Southern California. There just isn't.
it's a fair
I
point.
agree. Yeah.
So,
I agree.
so you got to live up to that. I mean,
I think you definitely have a much wider variety than you can possibly ever provide at Disneyland Resort with the litany of restaurants on offer at Walt Disney World Resort. Per restaurant within those parks, however, I don't know. I might go with Magic Kingdom, but I think Luke makes a great point. The competition out there in LA is very fierce. And the park understands if we don't actually offer a quality product, people are going to leave. They're going to go to Carl's Jr. down the way for a lot less than what we could ever provide. So that's kind of the difference right there.
especially if they come here so often because they're locals.
That's a good point.
They know
No,
what the competition is. If I go into Orlando the first time and I go to Disney World,
Mhm.
I wouldn't know where to go off the property.
Right.
Except
right.
if I saw chains I already knew, like Olive Garden or whatever.
Yeah.
By the way, the Orlando area, just a little restaurant lore here, used to be the proving ground for all these chains. They built the first Olive Garden, among others, there. Why? Because they were getting a cross-section of America and they wanted to test it out. And here's one interesting little Olive Garden factoid for you. If you go to an Olive Garden west of the Mississippi, you will find that the sauce, the standard pizza spaghetti sauce, is marinara. If you go to one east, you'll find it's meat sauce, because audiences from the two different sides of the country had two different tastes, and they discovered that at their test restaurant there. So that's the kind of stuff, it's a great cross-section. But
I beg
It
to
is.
differ on this one because although our parks, the food is not the greatest. I like to plan my days when we go to Walt Disney World, to the resort. We take breaks. So we go to the park and then we go to one of the resorts for the dining. We don't
Right.
have that luxury here. But
Oh, yeah.
that's, I think that the cuisine could be, at Disneyland has to be on point in the park because, it's two different. We have more restaurants.
Well, that would have been more true before DCA and Downtown Disney, but now, I'll remember when Mondavi opened up their restaurant and Puck opened up his restaurant, and those were pretty first class. Those were really first class.
They were, and they're both gone. So that's the other thing.
Well,
I think
sure.
I think the food quality has gotten far worse at Disneyland in recent years, but I've
agree.
heard as
I
well.
agree.
Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World has also kind of, unfortunately, been affected by that trend, which is not good. The food question is very interesting to me, but look, suffice to say, when you take a look at these two different resorts and these two different theme parks, I mean, now without Rivers of America, I mean, no Fantasmic, the real Fantasmic anyway. It's really hard to make the case. I would think that Magic Kingdom is superior. Maybe that's actually playing out actively, as MJ said at the start of the show. Nolan, I want to go ahead and leave it with you to wrap us up right here. Your thoughts. I think you were looking to get involved earlier.
Well, I think one thing also that's making Disneyland such a sought-after attraction for many park goers is, of course, it's known for being a locals park, but, it's Disney. So you're going to get a lot of travelers heading over that way just for an experience at Disneyland. And I think one thing that's helping in its benefit is, since it's not necessarily the big ticket destination, the crowds aren't going to be as crazy. And when you're not, excuse me here, like, up each other's butts, so to speak, when trying to get in the park and get the immersion, you get some more of that kind of classical Disney charm to take in all the little details that are still there to this day with those historic rides that MJ has brought up, like Mr. Toad, Snow White, etc., etc. You're going to get just a much more satisfaction, a little bit of peace, especially if you're trying to go for nostalgic, not even just with attractions, but in a simpler system in this economy, like, go to a place with two parks over 4, because you're likely to spend less, even if it might be bogus logic at the end of the day, because you might still find a way to spend that money. Anyways, convincing yourself to buy the ticket. And if you're going in, it's like, okay, it's a smaller park. I probably don't need to think about quantum physics when I'm trying to think about how to utilize a fast pass system. Those little things and a peace of mind, that's the point of a vacation. I think Disneyland has that perk for a lot of guests. So I think for now, at least, its trajectory should still be going up.
I mean, the trajectory is going sky high. There's no question about that. I mean, Disneyland has not seen the same level of attrition as Magic Kingdom has. And look, we all know why. I mean, first of all, it's very expensive. Second of all, the emphasis on Lightning Lane. And third of all, I think it's the walls, it's the construction, it's people understanding that, hey, look, listen, it's not the best time to go. I'm going to go later. I don't want to necessarily limit myself to a park that is walled city, right? Versus Disneyland, it's like, hey, everything's open, everything's great. And while there might be construction, it's going to be towards the edges of the park, the peripheries of the parks, not the heart of it, like there is in Rivers of America at Magic Kingdom right there. So very, very interesting dynamics playing out right here. Disney, though, I mean, if your number one park is Disneyland, look, I love Disneyland, and I've won it to be the most theme park in the world, just because I've never seen it before in my lifetime. That being said, though, I understand that from a value standpoint, as far as the Walt Disney Company is concerned, that may be a problem. We'll see how it shakes out.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.